the Chase Thomas Podcast, for people who have nothing but time to kill.
Last thing. This is my, I was getting redneck mad over the weekend, and then I hear on Volquest, I'm listening to, I think it was you who made the point, Brent, where, look, they might miss, because some fans are wondering, do you miss Alex Golesh? And like Alex Golesh obviously played Alabama really well over the weekend, so fans were feeling pretty good about that. It's not like the offense was lighting up Alabama, but Golesh was a likable figure. We knew that he was calling plays last year. It's a community effort. We get that part of it, but he was heavily involved more, I think, last year than 2 years ago, right? Like he got more trust in Heupel and the play calling up top. But it was him and Halsey up top. So Halsey could focus on the quarterback and Golesh could see everything else. The thing that we have moved on from that we overlooked, and where I got really mad, and I was just thinking about it, where I'm like, at the time, I think we may have talked about it on this program, the promotion of Alec Ablin, and we'll see what that ends up being. But you had one spot because there's a limit to how many offensive coaches you can have. And Ablin's not up in the sky. Ablin's not helping Halsey call the games. He's not seeing the field the same way that Golesh was, where there was like one opportunity to do the co-OC tight end coach hire to replace Golesh. And instead we have the OC / quarterback coach with no one else up top to share those duties with Halsey. So Halsey's getting kind of a crash course in more like, hey, that's like Dante Percent. That's what the money's for. You're up there. You have more responsibilities. You're the offensive coordinator. Like that promotion makes sense. But some of the names like Seth Luttrell, who was just sitting out there, and this is my outside looking in, no sources, anything, where he's just head coach experience. He's coached tight ends at multiple stops. Just there was something about it to me that made me nervous of like, I understand you want to stay in the house, you want to promote from within, that's all fine. Alec Ablin could be great. We'll see what he looks like on the recruiting trail and all that. I wonder if that was a mistake in not having the two people up top and having another vet in this offensive coaching room to help ease the transition for Joey Halsey. Even if Luttrell or somebody like that is not here for more than a couple of years, it just seems like that might be a drop off in just terms of offensive minds and offensive eyes up top. Is that fair? That's how I've gotten, I've orchestrated this take, Brent, is that it was a mistake not to have someone else up there with Halsey with experience to help this out.
Well, I think I don't know the answer to that question, or really how valid the take is or isn't. I think there was a really good harmony and chemistry up top between two guys that had been beside each other for multiple years. Mm-hmm. Okay, I do think there's something to that. You bring in somebody from an outside system that doesn't know the system, that's trying to learn the system. Can they immediately come in and create that chemistry up top? That, hey, I trust exactly what you tell me you're seeing on this play call. I've got to make in 8 seconds. I don't know. Is Joey on an island up there by himself? I'm sure at times he probably feels like he's a bit on an island by himself. Yeah.
And that's what I wonder from the outside looking in.
I wonder the same thing. I think it's a fair question. Josh Heupel's still obviously calling things, but he's calling things based on what the information he's getting from up top.
Yeah.
How fast is that information getting to him? How good is the information getting to him? How complete is the information getting to him? I think all those are very valid and very legitimate questions. Did they score a lot of points in this offense before Alex Golesh came to it? Yes, they absolutely did. Did Alex Golesh bring some wrinkles to the offense? I think we're all kidding ourselves. If you say, no, he didn't bring wrinkles to the office, sure he did. He was a disciplinarian, high demanding guy. No corners were getting cut. That high accountability guy that wasn't liked by everybody, around the players and everybody around, because he had no problem crawling into somebody. No problem at it. Probably enjoyed it a little bit, to be honest with you, at times. So, but at the same time, too, Josh Heupel's track record of offensive production goes far beyond Alex Golesh. So we'll see. We'll see where this thing grows and where it goes from there. And I think that's the key word when you look at this team. When you talk about what's Tennessee, it's about what is their ceiling, meaning how much can they grow. Let me see if I get framed right. How much can they grow? And then what is the growth chart? What's the growth look like? Is it this slow and steady, look like your stock market, or is this a high-end, high-arcing, they can really turn the corner and grow quickly here over the course of the next 2 to 3 weeks? That's the question. If it's a slow, methodical growth, there's going to be some disappointment and tough days. If they can really hit the growth spurt here, so to speak, and clean up a lot of things, then we're not having some of these same questions. But your question's valid because the head coach also said after scrimmage 2, our sideline operation, our operation to the field wasn't as clean as it needed to be.
Yeah.
So you're starting to ask that question a little bit after seeing kind of where they are. Again, you talk about the operation, what stands out about you. I watched this team play as fast as they've played for 2 years, have to call 2 timeouts last week because the play clock was winding down to 0.
Yeah.
I mean, there were times you never even looked at the play clock because you weren't sure if they reset it before they snapped the ball again. So it's different. And so we'll see what it grows into over the course starting this week. This is an important week. They have to show some kind of route. Oh, yeah.
Inexperienced young staff. Like that was something I had marked down. It's just it's young.
Young staff who has not dealt with a lot of adversity on that side of the ball either. I mean, it's not been hard for Alec Ablin.
Yeah.
It's not been hard for Kelsey Pope. It's not been hard for Joey Halsley. I mean, think about where Joey was 4 years ago, right? He's in corporate America, comes back, and he's at Central Florida. They're good, competing on the national stage. And Tennessee's still there. I mean, it's not like Tennessee's 0-4 and like
it just feels like it. Isn't it crazy? It just feels like it right now.
Because everybody had assumed they were going to win at Florida.
Yeah.
Everybody just assumed they were going to go down there and beat Florida because Florida didn't look very good against Utah. Nobody goes, man, Billy Napier scares me. Boy, I'm really worried about that. They look disorganized. They didn't play very well. Graham Mertz didn't scare anybody. They don't have a ton of offensive weapons that scare people. And you're thinking, okay, this is Tennessee going to go down there and this thing may get out of control early, and it didn't. And so because it didn't with those kind of expectations, now everybody's like, holy crap, what's wrong?
Yeah.
And so that's why this week and next week are super important at home.
Brent Hobbs, what can the good folks check out from you and the team over at Volquest.com this week?
We've got our full coverage of the game. We've got our Ball with the Beast podcast, which is a comedy show between Austin and me and former Volquest staff writer Paul Fortenberry. We've got a mailbag podcast. We've got the War Room. We've got 10 things I think going into the game. And then we'll come back with 10 things I think I learned coming out of the game on Sunday, as well as our day after review piece, some recruiting stuff. Tennessee's got some visitors in this weekend, and lots of stuff going on.
Am I going to hate the War Room this week?
I don't know. I got to get it posted.
All right.
You've kept me 51 minutes on this podcast. It's midnight. So I'm going to go on the GQ and tell everybody that Chase Thomas is the reason that